Hello, it's Enestor, and I'm here with my first ever Wi-Fi battle on this channel, and my first ever Wi-Fi battle ever. Alright, so if you guys can be a little nice, because this is my first ever Wi-Fi battle, that would be great. If you guys have any tips on what I could have done better, that would be greatly appreciated. So before we jump into this battle, I'm going to briefly explain what my team is. I got a somewhat physically offensive Toxicroak. It's got Sub and Black Sludge. Then I have a special attacking Aegislash and special attacking Jolteon. Jolteon is choice scarfed, and the Aegislash has a shell bell because I don't have leftovers, and I needed one of my walls to get that get that item. Then I have a Trevenant, specially defensive, and a Skarmory, physically defensive, and I got my Mega Evolution Garchomp. Before I actually look at my opponent's team, I realize that I have a very weak. I have a very bad weakness to fire types, and look at that. The other guy's got a Blaziken, and by the looks of it, his only possible Mega Evolution. So that's gonna be fantastic. So let's just hop right into this battle. So hopping into this battle real quick, I wanted to start off in fear of the Tyrantrum actually setting up Stealth Rocks. I wanted to send out my Toxicroak, but unfortunately he goes straight out to Blaziken. So in fear of the Flare Blitz, I decided to switch out to my Garchomp because he's the only one that can actually take a Fire type move against this thing. But unfortunately, this thing is gonna Mega Evolve and do a Sword Stance, and I'm like, crap, I cannot take any hits from this thing if it's at +2. So now I'm thinking to myself, okay, fire, I really want to switch off because the fighting type move was super obvious, but I was too scared to actually switch into my Aegislash or Trevenant in fear of him overpredicting and doing a Flare Blitz. But looky there, he did a high jump kick. So if I actually went into my Trevenant or Aegislash, I would have still had my Mego. But unfortunately, I don't, and the crit definitely didn't matter because it was a +2 Blaziken with no defense EVs on that Garchomp. So I send out my Skarmory trying to scout out what this thing wants to do by doing Protect. And seeing that it wants to do Flare Blitz, I'm like, okay, maybe I can knock it out. Maybe I'll have enough recoil damage that I can take it out with the Aerial Ace, because unfortunately I did not get this thing the Brave Bird, which is an egg move, I believe. So he knocks me down to my Sturdy, which was pretty obvious with that Flare Blitz, and then I go straight for the Aerial Ace, hoping it will take it out. But unfortunately, I did not put enough attack EVs on this thing. Actually, I didn't put any attack EVs on this thing, so that barely did anything. And the Flare Blitz from this thing is going to knock me out cleanly. So at this point in the game, I'm like, okay, I might be a little screwed over at this point. So I think at this point I'd send out my Jolteon to do a quick revenge kill with a Volt Switch, I believe. Nope, I go with the Aegislash to do, yep, I go for the Shadow Sneak because this thing is brave natured. And minus speed will definitely will definitely keep me safe. And we take out the Blaziken, so I'm like, yes! The worst threat is out there. But now he sends out his Greninja. I'm like, oh crap, what is this thing gonna do? I'm pretty sure he was gonna go for like a Surf or Hydro Pump, so I send out my Trevenant hoping to see what it'll do. And this guy does a Dark Pulse. That was a great I'm not sure if he predicted me going to my Trevenant or what, but that was a beautifully read move, and I essentially can't do anything because my Trevenant, like, nothing can take a Dark Pulse at this point. Like, I don't know why, but I think I just go for the Protect, hoping that I have enough HP after a Protect that I can live one. But as you guys will probably see, that I'm gonna die after this next Ice Beam quite easily because the Dark Pulse is a lower base power than compared to Ice Beam. So yeah, there goes 3 Pokemon to 2 So I'm down 3-5, and I'm like, okay, Jolteon, you're gonna have to do some work right here. I go for the Thunderbolt, hoping I'm pretty sure I can take it out in this range, and I don't. And for some reason, this guy goes for the grass knot. I'm not exactly sure as to why, though. I'm still trying to ponder why, but whatever. I'll take it. It's a lot nicer than taking an ice beam, and that he dies to his life orb damage. So now, in fear of the Shadow Sneak, because I'm pretty low in HP, I switched to my Aegislash, I believe, to take it. But unfortunately, he goes for the Swords Dance. And I'm like, oh god, I'm probably gonna have to do something about this. So he goes for the King's Shield, and I'm like, and I go for the Shadow Ball. So I'm automatically, I just showed him that I'm a special attacking Aegislash just by that one move. So I'm like, oh, there goes my advantage. So I switch back to my my shield form and do a King Shield, hoping that he'll go for a Shadow Sneak. And luckily for me, he does. So there goes his Swords Dance. So now we just repeat what we did last time. There's the attack harshly dropping, and he switches back. We do what we did like 2 turns ago. He does the King Shield, and I do the Shadow Ball. And I'm like, crap, what do I do? Because we might just do this like all day, you know, because it's constantly changing. And I'm like, okay, I might as well go for it all. So fortunately for him, he overpredicts. No, yeah, he overpredicts, thinking that I'll go for the King Shield. But I don't. I go straight for the Shadow Ball, and that cleanly kills him. Not sure if this Aegislash is running max HP like it should, but I'm pretty sure it isn't. So here comes the Tyrantrum. And unfortunate for this Tyrantrum, I am running... Unfortunately for me, actually, I was running Gyro Ball instead of Flash Cannon like I should have. But luckily, it didn't really make a difference for this for this battle, because, you know, Tyrantrum special. I don't know what Gyro Ball does specifically, but I meant to put Flash Cannon because I have a lot of special attack EVs, and there goes that Tyrantrum pretty easily. And now here comes the Malamar. Malamar wants to do some shenanigans with that stupid hypnosis. So now I'm asleep. I'm like, okay, this is terrible. I cannot do anything. So I think I go for trying to get some... I'm trying to stay awake, get awake, and he goes for superpower, predicting me to switch out. So now I know he's probably going to predict me to stay in with a dark, go for like a Night Slash. So I switch out to my Toxicroak, predicting that, and I take that pretty nicely. So I go, unfortunately for me, I forgot to put a fighting type move on my Toxicroak on this battle. So unfortunately, the set that this Toxicroak has is Substitute, Protect, Drain, or Sucker Punch, and Poison Jab. But that didn't really, that sort of mattered. But since I didn't have any fighting type move, I was forced to go for the Sucker Punch, as Malamar took out my Substitute and does a Psycho Cut to easily kill me. Its critical hit definitely didn't matter, because I am quad weak to that thing. So now I send out my Aegislash, hoping I get the first turn awake, and I do, and I get the King's Shield off. But I forgot this thing's ability, so it got, instead of losing attack, it gained +2 attack, and it missed the hypnosis, which was fantastic for me. I was like, hell yeah, I'm going to hit this thing so hard with the Shadow Ball. I was like, eat it! And it took it out, thankfully. It was within a range. I'm not sure how much of a special wall that thing is. And here's his last Pokemon, the Bibarel. And since I only have Shadow Sneak, Shadow Ball, and Gyro Ball as my attacking moves on this thing, I could only do Gyro Ball, which barely does anything at this point, because I have such low HP, and it's not even effective against this thing. And I get to show off that I have Shell Ball, because I'm too poor to even get a leftovers, and I don't have any shinies to trade away. I don't even have a single shiny, which makes me sad, but this thing has Moody, so thankfully that thing gets a special defense drop, which will come in handy later. So it goes for the Protect, trying to stall me out of my Gyro Balls. I'm like, oh god, this thing is going to be annoying. And it's trying to get as much HP back, because it knows that it still has to go against my Jolteon. So here's another Moody. I'm like hoping, please, more special defense drop. But this time defense fell. I was like, alright, not bad. I got the Gyro Ball. I might be able to live this waterfall. But then I forgot I had an increased attack, so I was like, oh, there goes my Aegislash. So now it's 1-1, which was beyond me how that happened. So I send out. So here's the Moody. It brings up a tag. I'm like, special defense drop, and it's evasiveness. I'm like, this doesn't make a difference. I have 100% accurate moves with me. I'm like, why didn't I have thunder on this thing? The one time it would have made a difference. But it decides to protect while I go for the thunderbolt. I'm like, okay, this Moody has to be a special defense drop this time. It has to. This is the only thing. This is the only thing that will help me. So there's an increase in accuracy and defense. Physical defense fall. I'm like, oh god, this is not going to take it out in one hit. But thankfully, I got the crit. And that there, guys, is the game. I won the battle 1-6. And that's how my first battle went. My first Wi-Fi battle. And that was actually pretty intense. I was shaking after that first game. And yeah. If you guys have any suggestions of what I could have done better and maybe some suggestions for the team, that'd be great. But before you make decisions, I think for the next battle I got rid of Trevenant and replaced her with a Sylveon because I noticed that my massive fire weakness was too much. So I probably could have gone with a Tentacruel, but whatever. So this has been Enestor, and I'll see you guys later. Go shiny thing. Use Metal Claw.
Who is shiny thing?
Oh god.
Yes, who is shiny thing?
Aron.
Oh. Trying to get him to become an Aggron.